Good day, everyone. Welcome to our reading and writing subject. So, for today, we'll be having our third lesson, which is brainstorming and graphic organizers. So, for today's lesson, we'll be discussing the different advantages and disadvantages of using these two techniques in organizing information, as well as what do these words actually stand for, or how do we define them. Now, let's take a look at this picture. Reading and writing can be frustrating for everyone, right? As it is often not an easy task. Despite of you or most of you doing it on a regular basis, sometimes it could be difficult for you. Okay? There would be a lot of information to process. However, there are different techniques, approaches, or even methods that as a reader and as a writer one may use to organize the information that we have gathered. And in a way, we can use these techniques as well to accomplish what is our desire or what is our goal in doing or engaging reading and writing. Similarly, we can also use these different techniques to improve our writing and our reading craft. So there are actually three different techniques that we can use. The first one is brainstorming, which we will be discussing on the first part. Similarly, we also have graphic organizers as well as the process of outlining. So for today, we'll focus on the first two techniques, which are brainstorming and the use of graphic organizers. Let's go to brainstorming first. What is brainstorming? It is defined as the process of writing down specific topics from different sources. So basically what you hear, what the information that you have gathered, no? More often than not, you write it down on a piece of paper or kahit sa blackboard or simply just take note of those information. All right, now we have this man. His name is Alex Fackney Osborne, and in 1953, he was the first one to coin the term brainstorming. He used this term on his book, which is entitled Applied Imagination. So, according to Osborne, brainstorming could be defined as a group or individual creative technique by which efforts are made to find a conclusion for a specific problem, no? How? By gathering a list of ideas spontaneously, wherein these ideas are actually contributed by the members of that particular group. Okay, so basically the information is coming from a lot of sources, and one or maybe two persons could jot down all those ideas and combine them all together or consolidate all these ideas together. According to him as well, there are different types of brainstorming, or there are different techniques as well to doing brainstorming. The first one is idea listing, second is idea mapping, third is cubing, the fourth one is free writing, and the last is researching. All of this could be classified under brainstorming. Let's go to the first one, idea listing. When we say idea listing, it simply involves listing down ideas about a particular topic. So basically, you have one topic, one specific topic that you want to gather information or collect information for. And then what you have to do is just simply list them down. Okay? Supporting details about it or ideas about that particular topic. Take for example this one. So we have unemployment. Under unemployment, there are several ideas that we can associate with the word or with the term. So unemployment here, is basically what we call or what we refer to as the topic. Whereas all of these little ideas or these words associated to unemployment, these are the things that we could think of every time that we heard or we think of the word unemployment whenever this word comes up. So this could be your ideas. The next one is idea mapping. As for idea mapping, it's simply a visual representation of your ideas and how are these ideas connected to one another. This could also refer to as web clustering. Okay, so just like this one. Now let's move on to the next one, which is cubing. In cubing, an idea is examined from 6 different viewpoints. Okay, so similar to the shape of a box or a shape of a cube, it has 6 different sides. So in cubing, there is one particular idea that you want to look into, and you actually ask yourself different questions to produce information about that particular idea. Okay, so what are those 6 distinct viewpoints? The first one is describe. When we say describe, you just ask yourself, what is it? What is this particular idea about? The second one is compare. Obviously, when you compare, you give similarities and differences, no? Is it like something else or is it unlike another idea? Is it similar to one idea or is it different from another thing? So you just come up with similarities and differences of that particular idea to other existing ideas. The third one is associate. So when you say associate, you ask yourself the question, what does this particular topic remind you of? Does that remind you of a specific idea, a specific concept? Okay, so we try to answer that one. The fourth one is analyze. What are the parts of this topic? How can we or how can you discuss this topic? Okay? How can you divide the sub ideas or subtopics under this one big topic? Okay? So try to identify its parts for this fourth viewpoint. The fifth one is apply. So in application, you think of ways how that particular topic can be helpful for others. Okay, so you have to think it could be helpful to you. No, why are you even looking at that particular idea in the first place? Okay, so think of the ways that the particular topic can be utilized. And the sixth one is you try to argue. Is there any way wherein you can support that particular topic? Okay, and then when we say supporting, as you all know, aside from giving other ideas, you try also to give evidence that this topic is irrelevant or is this topic is irrelevant, okay? Should be discussed or shouldn't be discussed or why are we even discussing it in the first place? So you try that support, okay? You try to support that claim. And also, I'd like to add, if you are in a position to win, if you are trying to oppose the particular topic, then you should also stand that one as well. So this is an example that I found on the internet by a Google image search. No, just a simple Google image search of cubing can lead you to this one picture. The next one is free writing. And when we say free writing, it's simply writing what comes into your mind. Okay? There are no rules that you have to follow. You just have to continuously write without any inhibitions, without thinking if you were doing it wrong, if you were doing it right, and so on and so forth. So as for free writing, or as free writers, no, we don't mind any errors in spelling or even in grammar. We're not very particular with that. The main goal of free writing is just to put into writing what you have in your mind. Okay? Because that's a very idea of brainstorming. Kung ano lang yung pumasok sa isip nyo, yun lang yung ilalagay nyo, yun lang yung ililista nyo. Okay? So in free writing, there are no rules to be followed. You just simply put into words or put into writing what you have in your mind. Just like this particular text, no, it is entitled A Memorable Moment, but if you can read it, there's really no structure. No, there's no definite structure, no, it's arranged in a way that's how or the memorable moment is discussed by the author in a way that as it happens, okay, how the writer or the author of the text experience it, kung ano lang yung nararamdaman niya without any rules in terms of grammar or other technicalities in English language. Okay? What else? She noticed during that particular memorable moment also, no, na it doesn't necessarily contain lengthy sentences or full sentences. Okay? As we all know, meron tayong subject-verb agreement, pero dito sa free writing, any idea lang. Wala tayong rules. Okay? So it contains, some of it are actually just simple words. Some of them are phrases, hindi full sentences. Okay, some of them naman ay complete sentences. So there's no rule that was followed when the author of the text wrote this one. Okay, so that's the very idea of free writing. Next, we have the last one for brainstorming. This is what we often do as students, as teachers, okay? As part of the academic, okay? In the educational institution, in the field of education, no? We often do this one, okay? And it is called, obviously, researching. So when we say researching, it's in the terms of brainstorming. Okay? Researching is simply defined as going to the library or even checking out websites. And then after doing that, it's not just a simple act of just looking into it or just reading some of the content. Okay? You have to check them out. Okay? Try to make a list or a map of the ideas that you have gathered from that particular website or from that particular reference, okay, from that particular source of information. So when we say researching, you also list down the ideas that you have gathered. Okay, so that's what makes it a type of brainstorming as well. I hope I made that clear. And for the last two slides, okay, so we have here the advantages. Okay, ano kaya yung mga different advantages of brainstorming? Why do people engage in brainstorming? Okay, the first one is it encourages creative thinking. Katulad na nabanggit ko kanina, when it comes to brainstorming, what comes into your mind, you just have to list it down. Okay, even if you think that it's not related, but it's in your mind, you made that association that it could be connected, or you thought of that particular idea as you were looking at the topic. Okay, so there are no bounds. That's why it instills in us a sense of creative thinking. The next one is when we engage in brainstorming, all the ideas are accepted. Okay, there are no right or wrong answers because you cannot actually determine if you cannot or you cannot determine it right away. No, kung connected siya or hindi dahil merong nangyaring association kasi feeling mo related. Okay? So all ideas are basically accepted. The third one is it makes everyone part of the team. Okay? So when you do brainstorming as a group, everyone takes a part in it, everyone could engage in it, you could interact with one another. Okay? You can ask for the opinion, what the thoughts, the ideas that they have. Okay? So that makes them feel part of whatever they or whatever you are doing. Okay? The next one is it is exciting and easy. But we'll focus on the easy part because like what I have mentioned earlier, when we do brainstorming, when we engage in brainstorming, there are basically no rules to follow. No? There are no rules that we have to consider, that you have to think about because whatever comes into your mind, you just list them down. Okay? You just say it out loud. Okay? So, paano naman papasok yung exciting in terms of brainstorming? So, it is very exciting because you might even come up with certain ideas that are related to the topic, no, that you are brainstorming, that you haven't even thought of yourself. So, as a group, maybe you could come up with a greater definition or greater interpretation of that particular topic. At the same time, exciting siya kasi possible ang brainstorming na hindi mo lang siya gawin na solo. Okay, brainstorming can be done alone and it could also be done with a group. No, so hindi lang ikaw yung group member. You have others to hear some thoughts about. Okay, as we all know, if there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. So in brainstorming, the first one is that only works when everyone in the room has something to say. So kung ikaw lang solo ka, then it might be difficult. If the information is only coming from one person, then it might be difficult to actually come up with a variety of interpretations, no, a variety of assortment of ideas and assortment of thoughts. The next one, in brainstorming as well, without strict control or leader present, the group may take a long time to get the solution. Okay, so someone from the group, especially if you are working in a group, someone from the group might need to step up and be a facilitator of the brainstorming process. Okay, and then the next one is group with large members or large number of members rather will not be effective. Okay, so when we say large number of members, probably like around more than 50 or more than 70 students or 50 people in that particular group, no, so brainstorming could be a little bit difficult for them, okay, because not a lot of them or not a lot of the members may participate. Okay? So, mahihirapan ka tanungin yung isa-isa and then magkaroon kayo ng collaboration kasi sobrang dami. That would fall into disadvantage. Okay? And then, the next one is that people with high emotions are not allowed to participate in brainstorming. So, why is that? Because sometimes, no, their emotions are actually or might actually tend to take over. Okay? So, mas mataas pa yung emosyon kaysa doon sa mga, mas marami po nasasabi na emosyon kaysa doon sa tumatakbo sa isip regarding sa topic na pinag-uusapan. Okay? So, make sure na kapag magkakaroon kayo ng brainstorming, you have to do it with your peace of mind, you are at peace, you are good with the rest of the group members, no? Kasi if not, magkakaroon ng problem. Okay. What else? Um, it also tend to be selfish as well. So all of the information comes from that one person or those people with high emotions, no? Sometimes kapag mataas ang emosyon, gusto niya siya lang ang gagawa, siya lang ang magsasalita, siya lang ang masusunod. And sometimes when the rest of the group disagrees with what they have to say, then that could be very problematic. Okay, it might break the harmony within the group. Okay, so I guess we can have other disadvantages and advantages coming from you. But for now, that will be all. If you have questions or concerns, feel free to send me a message. That's it for today. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.